Well, I don't like to be the one who brings this kind of news, but it so happens that the month shit show duo are stealing all the attention of the Invictus games and blaming it on the royal family. How is this possible? Well, I'm going to dive in and break this down for you to expose Megan's real plans, but let's first go through a couple memes. And you know that I referenced those spontaneous pop shots at Taco Bell yesterday. Well, you know that every action has consequences, but in this case, it's Harry, the one who's paying for those actions. In this case, that's why you have to be careful with what you put through your mouth. And I thought Megan had enough experience with that. Well, welcome back, my 154,000 Royal Roguies, plus the close to 1 million who haven't subscribed yet. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. And the biggest issue that we are facing is that the Harkles, and especially Meghan Markle, are taking the attention away from the real protagonists of the Invictus Games, the veterans. And as you can see in this Chris Jackson photo shared by Resting Dollface, this picture was precisely focused on Meghan. No, seriously, it's like here, her PR agency is working overtime, so everybody just looks at her. The blur background, she's clearly in focus. She's got a high contrast blouse. And what was more disturbing than anything else is that her facial expression had absolutely nothing to do with those around her. These are the advantages of zooming in on these pictures, where you can see that Harry and the man beside him are just surprised or attentive at some action, and Meghan, well, she thought that this was a picture for the comeback of the Tig. And that difference in facial expressions is something that we can spot even with low resolution pictures such as this one, in which you can see that Meghan is not only taking the lead, as she usually does, leaving Harry in the dust, but Harry is also less than pleased with the moment. I mean, these are his games, right? But we cannot get enough of Meghan's genuine and completely not made up smiles. How she spontaneously brings that light to everyone sharing that joy. Just a word of warning, don't try to imitate her facial expression. You might need to be taken to the emergency room to get your face fixed. But let's talk about the real problem, and this is a problem of exposure. I'm going to quote according to Taz on this one. The reason I think Meghan should have stayed away is because before she arrived, if you search Invictus Games and any of the Invictus hashtags, you were flooded with images and videos of the games, the athletes, the events, and beautiful moments about the families. Now, it's just Meghan. And yes, Taz has a point. And sadly, this is how the current attention economy works. Now you have to fish for the information you're looking for, because if you search for the Invictus Games, it's going to be all around about her, and that's not fair. Worst of all, there's this narrative going with headlines like this on the Daily Fail. Disabled veterans are frustrated that senior royals are shooting the Invictus Games amid row with Harry and Meghan. Buckingham Palace looks petty by saying more about the Highland Games, and ill will should not be held against competitors, sources say. So, I had to ask the question on my Twitter, but perhaps the wording was not the best. And before anyone claims that I asked this question in bad faith or to stir controversy for clicks, I'm sure that most, if not all of you, as longtime fans of the royal family, have better informed insights about this than me. Since this is a topic that is surfacing on the media, I feel the need to address it on my video, but my viewpoint and opinion is limited. So I guess my best approach must be to ask the question on Twitter, see your answers, and then use them to form a message for my video that will ultimately serve against those undercover sausages actually asking these kind of questions in bad faith. Perhaps the right wording should have been Is it common practice for the royal family to not comment on the Invictus games? But well, I think the best answer came from Dimitra Autumn. They never interfere with other royals' charities. Have you seen William commenting on Catherine going to the prison? Or the king commenting or even attending the Earshot Prize? No, they very much want anyone to have its own role and do not interfere. But it's also worth noting Catherine in Florida's answer. I think the reality is Harry no longer part of the royal family. There is no reason for them to be involved. Thousands of events take place daily. Royal family don't get involved or comment. Why would Invictus be different? Harry and Meghan broke the most absolute rule: don't talk about the family in public. They both did it in horrible ways. Deep down, each had to know the Ice Out was going to be completed someday. The royal family didn't choose this. Harry and Meghan did. Now they have to live with the consequences. So, what do you think about this? You can share your insights in the comments. And to try to take things a bit less serious, we got another meltdown from the Sausage Squad. It so happens that these people were absolutely convinced that the fact that Meghan wore a J. Crew attire or whatever to the Invictus Games, and she was responsible for an absolute collapse of the brand's website. Wow, that's what I call a smashing influencer. Brands will fight over having her as ambassador. But well, no. J. Crew's own Twitter account answered to these crazy claims, making it clear that no, the website was not down due to the influence of the Duchess of Sausages, but instead it was plain old maintenance. That should be completed very soon. You know, Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually the correct one. But no matter how much philosophy you want to put into this, no matter if the official account tells the tale the way it is, the sugars are going to believe whatever they want and absolutely nothing else. Take a look at these replies. You are lying for the ones who will never patronize you. Okay, I get it. I mean, what? And this other one, if you don't acknowledge Meghan's effect, then why should her fans buy from you? Talking about maintenance. Oh, girl, calm down. But nothing beats this one. If you are going to lie, you will be telling lies to yourself and will lose money. The haters of Meghan don't spend money. Hate is their currency. Yeah, projecting much. But to make things even funnier, it was the J. Crew Factory website, the one that was in maintenance mode. And this is the website of the outlet part of the brand. J. Crew's original website was always up and running. And Dimitra pointed out here, yeah, that's how these people think. Now, I'm sure all these squaddies are saving their hard-earned money to buy Meghan's upcoming tell-all memoir. And yes, when it's out, I will be reading it so you don't have to. My Royal Roguies, remember that you can download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Much love and bliss.